Just Cheesy the Podcast, presented by Just Cheesy Productions.
Hi there, I'm your host, Fondue.
I'm Cheesy.
This week, Cheesy and I are going to learn all about the infamous cheese pool. We discover why a decadent cheese pool makes us happy. We learn how it's done and what causes it.
Whoa.
We're going to talk about world records and the types of cheeses you can buy that work best.
Yum.
And of course, no episode would ever be complete without our signature cheesy joke.
Yeah, jokes.
Stay tuned for episode 83, Cheese Pool,
Cheese pool.
on Just Cheesy, the podcast. If you're anything like me, Cheesy, you're wondering to yourself, what exactly is a cheese pool?
Yeah.
According to Wiktionary.org, it's a stretchy chain of melted cheese that appears when it is pulled apart.
Everybody knows that.
Right. I'm sure most people knew that one.
Yeah.
Apparently, the cheese pull is a relatively popular advertising technique.
Whoa.
Think of other ones like the sizzling burger,
Ooh.
the beer pour,
Ooh.
even the hair flip on shampoo commercials.
Really?
According to QZ.com, this type of advertising is meant to communicate with the part of our brain that's not verbal.
Whoa.
They're looking to communicate with the primal core of our being.
Ooh.
They want us to respond with hunger, thirst, or desire.
Yeah.
According to Mark Damasio, the executive of the advertising agency Damasio Goldstein, he says he wants to bring people into the moment and get them out of their right minds.
Oh, no.
He wants to get people thinking, I want to go out and eat a lot of that product.
Oh.
The cheese pull is designed to provoke what they say is an involuntary response,
Whoa.
one that advertisers hope will lead to a purchase.
Huh.
And Uma Carmarker of Harvard Business School says food is what we call a primary reinforcer.
Oh.
We recognize the value of food items even when we can't touch them or feel them in person.
Whoa.
And the memories that are triggered can actually release chemicals in the brain, and it's actually like drug addiction.
Holy cow.
They actually activate this part of your brain, and it makes you want, let's say, the pizza that you're looking at.
Yum.
They say the image of a cheese pool is an old trick, and it gets the message across in an instant.
Whoa.
And with shorter and shorter windows to advertise, this is very valuable for those advertisers.
Wow.
So there's a lot that goes into the cheese pool to make that image right.
Wow.
Did you know that Domino's Pizza documented the art of the cheese pool?
They did?
So it says here, it took the following to get the perfect shot. 20 lights,
Whoa.
50 C-stands,
Whoa.
150 people.
Jeez.
And this included pizza chefs and hand models.
Holy cow.
They used food stylists who basically tweaked that pizza with Q-tips,
What?
tweezers,
Jeez.
torches, and spatulas.
Holy cow.
And what they say here is an alarming amount of drilling.
Oh, wow.
And according to Food52.com, there's a 1992 book on food styling called Food Photography and Styling by John Carafoli.
Okay.
He suggested cutting a wedge in the raw pizza dough and leaving it in place while cooking.
Wow.
That way it would be easier to separate the slice with the spatula after it had been cooked.
Oh, right.
And it said here the resulting pool would drip with a thick waterfall of cheese when it is lifted from the baked pie.
Whoa.
It suggests here that you should add additional sauce and additional cheese, then bake.
Oh.
And it says the secret to a good pull is not to do it immediately after the pizza leaves the oven. Let it cool slightly.
Huh.
The spatula then gets propped up with a couple of cups,
Oh, wow.
and that way it can stand on its own.
Sure, sure.
And they apply a few last-minute touch-ups with olive oil to put a sheen on the pepperoni for the camera, it says.
Of course.
It even suggests that pepperoni be put on the pizza after it comes out of the oven.
What?
And that mushrooms would be sautéed separately and then put on the top of the pizza with tweezers at the last minute.
Holy cow.
Domino's Pizza is not a sponsor,
Nope.
but if they were, the ad would go right here. Have you ever wanted to listen to the web?
Yeah.
Well, Newsly makes that possible.
They do?
They're an all-in-one audio super app for iOS and Android.
Super app.
You can listen to trending articles on the web on topics that you choose and get them read to you in a natural human voice.
What kind of topics?
Sports,
Cheese?
tech, business, science.
Cheese?
I'm sure there's even cheese.
Yay!
They even have an entire section for podcasts.
Are we there?
Of course we are.
Ooh.
It's one of my new favorite podcast apps. They even have digital radio.
Holy cow.
Just go to www.newsly.me to download it free.
Whoa.
Or use the link in the description. If you use the promo code CHEESY, that'll get you 1 month free premium subscription.
Yay, Newsly.
Now, back to the podcast. According to Delish.com, a Twitter account called @engineeringvid showed how a pizza commercial is filmed.
Ooh.
The pizza is drilled into the serving table
What?
so it stays in place,
Okay.
and glue is mixed into the mozzarella to make it stretchier.
Ew.
And apparently, according to this article, per the FTC, which is the Federal Trade Commission, there is no specific rule saying advertisers can't add inedible products
Ew.
to food while making commercials.
Whoa.
But if they do that and it misleads the customer about an important characteristic of the food, it could be a problem.
Oh.
In the 60s, the FTC sued Campbell's Soup for adding marbles to a soup bowl in an ad.
Whoa.
And it made the soup seem chunkier than it really was.
Oh, yeah.
Their slogan at the time was, "So chunky you can eat it with a fork." So adding marbles actually made it look chunkier.
Duh.
So that made me wonder, can you even achieve a cheese pool of your own?
Yeah.
Well, the Center for Dairy Research in Wisconsin has an article about it.
Ooh.
On cdr.wisc.edu, they have an article called "The Melt and Stretch of Cheese."
Whoa.
It says here, and I quote, "Stretch is the ability of the casein network to maintain its integrity and not break when pressure is applied to the cheese."
Whoa.
They also say here that cheesemakers are influencing the chemistry and physics of cheese melt and stretch.
Whoa.
This happens when they adjust the milk heat,
Whoa.
the pH during cheese manufacture, the composition of the cheese,
Wow.
the lowest pH obtained, proteolysis, I don't know if
no.
that's right,
Probably not.
and the breakdown of intact casein.
Whoa.
There's a lot of talk about milk fat.
Whoa.
There's even talk about the feeding practices, the stage of lactation, and the health of the animal.
Whoa.
Even the heat at which you cook your cheese can be a big factor.
Wow.
Some cheeses melt at room temperature, others have to be heated.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that could actually go into having a cheese pool, but it is attainable at home.
Yay.
And of course, as always, there is an official record.
Whoa.
According to recordsetter.com, in June of 2016, Carlo Alberto Orecchia pulled a 41.5-inch string of cheese from a pizza slice.
Holy cow.
Carlo is the host of a show called All the Pizza, and that show is by Tastemade.
Wow.
And I know I have an opinion, but I wanted to see what the internet said about some of the best cheeses for cheese pool.
Yeah.
According to blog.grubhub.com,
Whoa.
they make a few suggestions as to the types of food that have really great cheese pools.
Yeah.
One of them they show here is French onion soup.
Ooh la la.
Now, for me, that's one of the first that comes to mind. And of course, you're going to use Gruyere
Oh, yeah.
or a Swiss type cheese.
Yum.
Next, they show an ooey gooey baked brie.
Ooh, yum.
And this one, I don't know that I feel is a great cheese pool, but it does have a lot of gooey goodness.
Yeah.
Of course, next we show pizza.
Duh.
Of course.
Yeah.
Now, this would have mozzarella or provolone cheese,
Ooh.
or in St. Louis, they would have Provel,
Ooh.
grilled cheese. Of course, one of the quintessential
Quintessential.
cheese pools.
Yeah.
Now, here in the United States, we obviously use American cheese quite a bit of the time.
Yep.
Sometimes cheddar is used and lots of other cheeses. My recommendation, though, is to shred the cheese before you put it on, and that seems to get it a little bit meltier and a little bit longer on the cheese pool.
Yeah.
Next, they show mac and cheese, fondue,
Yeah.
nacho cheese, and chili cheese fries, and a lot of these
Interesting.
end up in the same category for me.
Yeah.
Most of them are liquefied cheese in these, and I don't know that I think that they're the best for a cheese pool.
Yeah.
So for me, my official best cheese pool is either pizza
Nope.
or French onion soup.
I'm ready for a joke, Fondue.
Okay, here we go. What is cheese's favorite workout?
I have no clue.
The cheese pull-up.
Oh.
Get it? Cheese pull? Cheese pull-up?
That is so dorky.
Yep, it's dorky as usual and a little bit cheesy. Thanks for listening to Just Cheesy
Thank
the
you.
Podcast, episode 83,
Cheese pull.
Cheese Pull. We look forward to talking to you next week.
Stay cheesy, everybody.